Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight to listen to the STEP Warmfloor and Tile Flooring webinar. We look forward to hearing from you and your questions here at the end of this. So a little bit about Heat My Floors. We're located in Rockford, Minnesota, and you can see that spinning star down there. We're just west of Minneapolis, about 40 minutes. And we're a subsidiary of Wright-Hennepin Electrical Cooperative. And our humble beginnings were as an electric cooperative, and now this is one of our diversified businesses that we have called Heat My Floors. And we distribute other fine products such as Cisco boilers, convect air heaters, and also Danfoss cable systems, sheet-mounted cables, and also roof mount products. And please, no Viking jokes, please, at the end of this. I know we got rid of Percy Harvin, and would rather not hear any more about that. So please refrain from Vikings jokes, please. My name is Steve Walstad. I'll be your host tonight, and I'm the sales manager here. I started back in June of 2010, and a little bit about me. I enjoy hunting and fishing, as you can tell by that picture to your left there, and really time with the family. And we get a chance to get out on the water together. We got lots of lakes here in Minnesota. A lot of them are frozen right now. And last year at this time for Easter, we had approximately 70 degrees, and there was virtually no ice on the lakes. And now, what a year can make, it's a lot different. So we're looking forward to an Easter egg hunt, I guess, in the snow possibly. A little bit, here we go, about the webinars. We had Dennis kicked it off with the wood floor webinar that is now available on our website. And Andy last week talked to us about the carpeting applications, and that is now available on our website. And then tonight I'll be talking to you about the tile floor applications. And then Tracy's going to end it with the fourth webinar next week with staple up application between joists. So hopefully you'll be able to join that one as well and learn a lot about a very unique product called STEP Warmfloor. A little bit kind of a nice graph. There's a lot on this page. I want to just draw your attention to three areas that we'll be talking about. The areas that we're going to be talking about tonight are tile and stone, and you'll see with the STEP Warmfloor that we can do that application. Virtually all of them can. With the carbon ink foil potentially having some delamination issues. So STEP Warmfloor does not have that. And also the risk of overheating, non-existent, which is very, very important when you're spending a fair amount of money here putting down a warm floor in a bathroom. And you want to make sure that that lasts. And you don't have to go back and uncover tile and remove cabinets of that sort and get at those elements that potentially can fail. Cables, mats, all the carbon ink foil, they have a risk of overheating. So something to pay attention to there. And also, STEP Warmfloor is very efficient. It is the most efficient of the products I'm talking to you about here on this page, and that is something that you want to make sure, as an electric company, we definitely like to see the meter spin, but we also want to make sure that that meter spins efficiently, and I'm sure so do you and your customers. So why use STEP Warmfloor underneath tile floors? Well, why not? It's a great product. It's self-regulating, and it essentially works like a floor sensor. Every little bit of the floor basically reacts differently. So if I've got a rug on one area, and that's actually going to warm up much quicker than the area around it, and it'll self-regulate and provide that energy efficiency that cables just don't have. So again, another key piece to energy efficiency there. Also, the element is extremely thin. It's the thickness of a penny. You can see there. It's 3/64 of an inch thick. And why is that important? Well, it's important because in remodeling applications, height is an issue, or can be an issue. You don't want to have to be invasive as far as cutting doors and raising trim, those types of things. You want to make sure that it's very, very thin, and this product definitely fits that bill. Also, you can nail and staple directly through the element without damaging the integrity. Very interesting piece to this whole puzzle. You'd be surprised how often people come up to us at shows, or we talk to them on the phone, and we tell them this, and they are just amazed that you can do this. And you should see the look on their faces. I wish I could show you some. We should have taken some video of those people with the looks on their faces, just amazed. And sure enough, it will not fail. And one time, a while back, they used to have a display where they would have contractors come up. They go to talk to electrical contractors, and they would have guys staple, just staple after staple after staple in this element, and the voltage would not drop. I mean, just amazed. And these are people that, obviously people are skeptical about that, and sure enough, nothing wrong with that at all. And also, we know we can go in wet areas. With the 24-volt system, very, very safe to go in wet areas, and it is approved. A little history of STEP Warmfloor, developed by Stefan Ergens, fluid power engineer, and brought it over to the United States. And back in '94, they came to St. Louis, Missouri, where their current manufacturing facility is. You can see the picture down there, a beautiful facility down in St. Louis. I'm sure they're having some nice weather down there, so we're a little jealous. But developed in 1981, used for automobile seats, and you can that's just the tip of the iceberg of what this product can do. I mean, it's been in all sorts of applications, and specifically tonight we're going to talk about tile. But you can just imagine that if it can be in automobile seats, what else could it be in? Medical beds, hospital beds, those types of things, walls, floors. We're going to go over a few of those tonight. And it is an award-winning product, a really fantastic product that's been recognized, and it's been hundreds of thousands of square feet throughout the world. And we're excited to have it here in Rockford, Minnesota, and we've been servicing Minneapolis and Minnesota for quite some time, and really look forward to expanding our business here. And the way we've been doing that is with really getting some recognition on some shows, and in particular the DIY Bath Crasher show, and also DIY Sweat Equity. We've had 5 shows combined there, and our very own Dennis Schrammel, who presented the wood floor application, has been in these shows, and has really enjoyed working with the hosts, and really loves the applications that we've been involved in, and also the publicity, just getting the word out on STEP Warmfloor, and just getting the inquiries. I'm here with our marketing person here tonight, and really we see a huge spike whenever a show airs, or whenever we're in some sort of publication like the Family Handyman, like we were in December and January. Boy, all of a sudden, you look on a graph, and it's a huge spike. So we really appreciate the exposure there. And here's the heating element, kind of just covering over some bases. We've all seen this before, or some of us haven't, but it is a semiconductive plastic, a polymer, uses nanotechnology, and it's got bus braids on both sides of the element that deliver the energy to the carbon that's in the kind of the ladder-looking area. Actually, the entire thing does heat up, other than the bus braids. So, but it's a fantastic product. Again, can nail and staple through it. It is 24 volts, AC or DC, so we have some solar applications that we can certainly do with that. We would love to do more of those, because as you know, the green movement is just taking off tremendously, and we would love to hear from you. Hopefully you guys have some of those solar jobs that we can work with you on, which would really be fun, and get some photos on those. So typical width of the product is 12 inches. It does come in other widths as well, 3-inch, 9-inch, and 12-inch. Typically what we're going to be talking about tonight in the tile application specifically is going to be the 9-inch and 12-inch products. And 20% of the product is actually recycled. So the areas where I have a red line right there, where the white section would be, those pieces actually get ground back up and put back into the element. So it is green. There's some recycled product there, so that's nice to talk to customers about. Here's the heating element. we've got a 12-inch wide 7.8 watt element that gets to 82 degrees and physically cannot get over 82. We've also got and that particular product is meant for wood floor. So you're seeing that, and when you call us for quotes, that's the one we'll quote for wood and carpet. And then you got the 12-inch wide element that we'll be kind of keying in tonight, really, which is the 9-watt element that maxes out at 84 degrees. And then for bathrooms where we can't get where we can't, in the design stage, can't get real good coverage in some areas, with a 12-inch wide, we can certainly go down to a 9-inch wide and start to incorporate those into the application and design and really cover the floor well. Cables, really with cables, there's limitations. They go to approximately 200 square feet and under is where you're going to see a lot of those applications. And then you got your hydronic and water tubing that you're going to see in larger areas. The hydronic areas you're going to see in basement slabs, you're going to see in bathrooms, but you just have to cover it with so much product, with a poured floor potentially or a slab. STEP Warmfloor actually can do all that. It spans both large and small, and that's a very key point to remember, that we can go in the small bathrooms, say 10 square feet, or in some cases, obviously we've done dog houses, obviously not a tile application, but wanted to bring that up. So we go in very small areas all the way up to very large areas, entire homes. So there definitely is growth that you can have there with your product portfolio. Whenever you call one of our sales representatives or anyone here that works for Heat My Floors, we're going to talk about insulating subfloors. Extremely important to remember that if we can get from below a floor, like that picture up there with the bad insulation, underneath the plywood floor, subfloor, we want to do that. We want to make sure that the element is running as efficient as possible. Very key to remember that whenever you do these, you're going to hear from us about that. And also cork, upper right-hand corner here. Cork is a wonderful insulator to go over concrete, it can go over plywood. It's also a wonderful sound deadener. So it kind of does both. It has some sound deadening properties as well. And also you got the polystyrene, the pink foam, the little Pink Panther, Owens Corning down there that you can certainly put down, and there are elements over the top of that. And then another picture just talking about all the different R values for bat insulation. And one in particular that we promote whenever we do tile applications is a product called Pro Panel. It comes in a 3x5 sheet, and we stock the 1/4 inch product that gives us a 1.5 R value, and you're typically going to see these over concrete slabs. You can certainly put them over a plywood floor, although plywood does have an insulating value to begin with. So not necessary, but certainly you can. The picture there up above, you can see the product's evenly spaced, and it's got Pro Panel underneath. Essentially, you would glue or use thinset or some sort of PL400, whatever it might be, to adhere the Pro Panel down to your subfloor, and then build up from there. And you can go ahead and use a modified thinset with that as well to fasten it to the concrete floor, or plywood for that matter. Again, we do stock that. Some of our most common installation methods, and these can be seen on the Warmfloor website as well. That is it's called design. They're called design notes, and there's 4 of them that we'll go over here tonight. We've got the cement backer boards, or also known as CBUs, or what that stands for is cementatious backer units. We've all seen these before. You got Durock, Hardy Backer, Wonderboard. There's other ones out there. There's Den Shield. All sorts of products that you can research and use with this STEP Warmfloor element. Also, another one that you're going to see a lot of with floors that are unlevel or just need some correction would be your self-leveling underlayments or compounds. Three I listed here of many are Ardex, Custom, and Tech. And I've got a picture of the Tech Easy Level next there. Right here is a 323. They also make a 318. There's all sorts of products. Ardex has got K15. There's all sorts of approved self-levelers that work well with the STEP Warmfloor element. Again, great place to use those is when you've got some correction to use, or you've got maybe even a small tile, penny round, or sheet-mounted mosaics, where you really need a flat floor to have a beautiful product in the end. Another one is what they call the double mortar bed, and the layering consists of you've got your subfloor, then you've got a layer of thin set, and then your element, and another thin set and tile. So essentially, you are sandwiching thin set between the subfloor and tile. And a great application would be over the top of, for instance, a backer board, over the top of basically other boards, CDUs, things like that. Over concrete would be a good one there too. And then the last one here that I want to bring up here is it's called a thick set mortar bed, or some people might call it dry tamp or a mud bed, things of that nature. Typically, these are going to be poured or applied in 1 1/4 inch to up to about 2 inches thick, obviously depending on the floor and what needs to be done there. And the biggest piece I want you to take away from knowing this method is the non-metallic lath. Cannot have metal bridging the gap between bus braid to bus braid. That will short that out. So I want to make sure that you use plastic lath over the top of that element. And really, what I want to talk about here is really the below application here. And the key piece here is that when you're putting a backer board or cement backer unit, they're 3x5 typically, and you want to make sure that floor is flat. So we want to make sure that we sink in those connections. The bus braid, when it connects to the crimp and wire, that bus braid and crimp can actually stand kind of proud right there at the edge of that connection. So we want to make sure that we depress that to keep that as flat as possible when we're putting the backer board over the top. Very key point to remember to pass along to your tile contractors that you're working with and starting to establish those relationships with, that you pass that information along. It goes a long way when you can kind of give them real-world experience and let them know that you are an expert with the STEP Warmfloor, and go from it that way. So I want to make sure you do that, pass along that information. And also, you can drop the wires through the subfloor. Essentially, you would paddle drill a hole to drop the wire and kind of where that connection point is down to your transformer location. Makes for a nice clean installation and keeps it nice and flat. And then you also want to make sure that you mark the bus braids. So when you do nail and staple, that you avoid those bus braids at all possible. You want to make sure that you leave those free of any materials that could pierce those. And also, I'm going to belabor this point, I think, a lot here throughout this presentation, but no mastics, no glues, no adhesives. Very key point to remember. No mastics, no glues, no adhesives. I can't say that enough. So here's kind of an installation. I want to show you. I like pictures. I like for all of you to see these pictures and see how it all comes together. And you'll see a cement backer unit being applied. This gentleman here is working his way out of the room from the stairs out, and he's already got a piece of hardy backer or Durock already down on the floor over the top of the element with thin set. So most likely this person were to dry fit these pieces, make sure they have all their cuts right, and going around walls and any other obstacles, and then marking those bus braids, and then go ahead and putting a thin set down. And there's just a cross section showing you kind of the layering of what it looks like. And really, you want to see this. We always again want to talk about insulation. So you see the insulation here. Then you've got your subfloor, element, thin set, cement backer unit, thin set, and tile in that order. And then grout and hand it over to your customer, and job well done. Another picture that what I want you to see here in this picture is how what we call here in our office race tracking, or kind of getting these leads coming from the element back to the transformer. You can see that they're very well done. There's a wire connection or a wire staple here, kind of holding them all together, and all these elements are connected and running back to that transformer. And this is what you'll see. You'll see a clean subfloor and an element. Make your connections. And a really key piece there is leave that last foot. You can staple right through this. You can actually see, if you look real closely, you actually can see some staples in that second piece of element right here. Some staples here that are actually holding down the elements in place. So as a person or as a contractor is walking around on that floor, they're not shifting these around. Again, another kind of trick to the trade. And also leave that last foot, and so you can make your connections without pulling those up and making a mess. So another great picture here showing you the holes that have been drilled through the floor to make those connections down to that down to the transformer. Great way to put in this particular case here, this is a 1/4 inch hardy backer that's going over the top of this element, and you can see that that all these pieces. So what he's doing here, he's dry fitting this element around this particular. There's a radiator here, or some sort of heating element. You can see that he's made the notch to go around this. So he's dry fit these, like we were talking about. He's dry fitting these first, and then he's making sure to mark very diligently. He's marking these bus braids to stay away from kind of a no-nail zone, and not to be confused with no-spin zone. But just to make sure that you keep that area free of any something that might pierce the bus braid. And then he'll go ahead and he'll go ahead and thin set and start to apply this. And then also in the last piece, he'll actually screw or nail at each one of these little X's. Those are kind of a guide to put down. You can see these here. He'll go ahead and put down the nail or staple to fasten that to the floor. And actually you can go right through the element like we had mentioned. So just avoiding those bus braids. Here's another kind of a cross section. Wanted to show you kind of a close-up view. So this person is putting the hardy backer or cement board over the top of the element. And what he's done here is he's just spreading out his thin set. And he is already, you can see his connections here already done, and his wires are being racetracked back and making his connections. And then the hardy backer, in this case, is going right over the top. And then he'll have a nice smooth floor to install his tile. So elements over the top of the cement board or cement backer unit, what do you want to call those? This is a bathroom. You can see you got a toilet flange over here in the corner, and this has been laid out for tile, and the elements laid out and evenly spaced. We want to be no more than 2 inches, and have those ready for their connections to be made. And again, a lot like the plywood subfloor, we want to make sure that we have the connection points, those bus braids, that make that connection to the wire with a crimp. We can depress those. We can, and a great way to do that is along this wall would be a great place, or anywhere along the edge, the outer edge, to leave out a section of the hardy backer or Duroc, and leave it out maybe about 1 inch, almost like a trough, where the wires would make those kind of go in that trough, and then you can go ahead and thin set right over the top of that trough once you complete your tile job. And it makes for a nice flat floor and a nice installation in the end from a tile perspective. And then you basically embed the element with thin set, and go ahead and use that trowel and thin set to fasten your tiles down to the floor. And again, I know, please forgive me, no mastics, no glues, no adhesives. Just making sure we pound that point home. Another technique you can use, another installation, is with Detra. And this is one of a few products out there. They're uncoupling membranes. They're a waterproof and vapor product. And really with this, it's 5/16 of an inch thick, so very thin. And you can see this gentleman's here is lifting it up to kind of show us what's that looking like. You know, so you got your plywood subfloor, you got your element, you got your thin set, and then you got your Detra mat or Schluter system. That is, you got a fabric on one side, and then the plastic kind of almost, it looks to me like a waffle, which I guess maybe I'm hungry right now, but that's a waffle-looking material that they would actually thin set in, let that dry, and then come back and install thin set and tile to complete the project. And this would be in, wet areas would be a great application for this. Bathrooms. I've seen this used in kitchens. Really anywhere you can use this. It can be just used like an underlayment. And you can see the kind of the cross sections here. Really, again, we always want to talk about insulation. This happens to be, this cross section here is over a concrete slab. We always want to make sure we have that insulated. And then you've got your element, thin set, your Detra, in this particular case, the orange mat, and then thin set and tile. And really a great floor. And what's neat about that product, if you ever go out and look at videos about Detra, it actually moves. It moves with the floor, so it allows that tile to not crack. That uncoupling, that's what that is you want to make sure that movement in the floor doesn't hurt that beautiful marble floor or tile floor that you've just your tile contractor's just done. So self-levelers, wonderful application again for those times when tiles, very sheet-mounted product, or you've got an uneven subfloor, would be a great place for these. You want to embed the elements. You don't need to pour real thick. These can be poured at between 3/8, half an inch, just to cover the lath. And again, it's approved method. And key piece to this is no metal lath. Must be plastic lath. And you can see that plastic lath is the yellow piece right here. And in this cross section, again, with a concrete application, you wouldn't have the mesh necessarily, but you would have your foam insulation or pro panel, the one we carry, or cork would be fine. And then you've got your elements, thin set, poured floor, thin set, and tile. So in that order. And here's a picture, kind of a funny picture here. Looks like those Goofy shoes, like Goofy would wear. But these are used for the person to be able to walk in this self-leveler and not be able to displace that floor that they've just poured, so they can walk back in and kind of finish it and finish that concrete. And you can see in this particular floor why self-leveler was used and not maybe a Durock or Hardybacker was, you can see, if you look closely, you can see these stacks of washers. These washers are for kind of visual aids or gauges to tell the floor pouring company there kind of what heights they need to hit. So once they hit that height, what they'll actually do is kick those washers over and kind of leave those right in the element itself. So they'll do that, and then this beautiful covered heated floor will be a desired finished product for the homeowner when they come in and see all that tile and have their bathroom back. Again, no metal lath, plastic, please. So just some things about ceramic tile and natural stone. Really, spacing is key, and why that is because tile is very conductive. It transfers that heat very, very quickly through there. So if we have elements spaced any further than 2 inches, we can have what's called striping, or the industry term would be called striping, where you've got warm, cold, warm, cold. So if you were to slide your feet across the floor like like Michael Jackson would have done the moonwalk, you would have warm, cold, and you would feel that. Now that's not what you paid for. That's not what your customers are going to pay for. We want to make sure that whenever we design, we always ask those questions. What is going to be the finished floor? It's a logical question to ask. We don't overlook that because we want to know, because that dictates the design of how we do it. So we're going to design those max of 2 inches apart, and that floor will be a beautifully warm floor. And we also want to shoot for that 9-watt element. So you'll see when you see bids come from us, it'll be a 9-watt element that we'll propose, or the 9-inch element with it at 6.8 watts per square foot. Again, they achieve the same temperature of 84 degrees. So then go ahead and put your board on top or underneath the elements. Doesn't matter there. Like we had talked about, we showed you both of those. And then we want to make sure that you use ProPanel or some sort of insulation to allow that heat to go where our customers and where you want it to go, which is at their feet and in the room, not into a subfloor or down into a concrete slab. We're heating up the earth. Some waterproof membranes. These are to be applied over the top, and the two that are recommended are RedGuard and Curdy. And the one up, hence the name RedGuard, where you're seeing that up here, upper left. This is happens to be a shower, and you'll notice the shower drain, and you'll also notice the curb and the floor that has the RedGuard applied over the top of the STEP Warmfloor. And what you'll see is footprints there. Well, people have been in there doing other trades have been in there. But what a tile guy will do, a tile person, will come in and use a damp sponge and just lightly basically like you're dusting the floor, and take off those marks so their tile sticks real well to that RedGuard and doesn't have any layers of dust or anything, any particles that can get in the way of allowing him to really get a good bond. In the tile world, bond is what you want. You want a good bond. You don't want any delamination of any product. That's a no-no. So they'll take the steps to clean that up. And then the lower right here, you'll see Curdy. It's a Curdy. There's a Curdy drain system. This one happens to be in a shower. You can see the tub bench, or excuse me, not the tub bench, the shower bench here. And he's applying that mat, that orange fabric, over the bench and on the shower floor. And it looks like this one might even be a curbless shower, and you can see the tile extending into. So he's got some sort of slope here down to his drain, potentially in the back corner here. So that can be extended over and actually put over the top of the element and tiled right over. And as you can see the depiction here, whoops, excuse me, you can see that, whoop, my bad, apologies there, kind of getting trigger happy here. You can see that the tiles are going right over the top of that. And the cross section here, you got your layering. I always like to show those. You can kind of see the layering of that with the Curdy right over the top of the element with thin set. Boy, look at that beautiful bathroom. That is full of marble. Marble is notoriously cool to the touch. So that's why they use marble when they make fudge. If you've ever been to a place where you can watch them make fudge, they'll have a big marble slab that kind of cools make that consistency of a fudge, where it holds together and doesn't melt. Same thing here. Cold marble. This person had the idea, hey, let's heat the shower walls. Absolutely, go for it. Certainly can go in that application. You can see the picture in the lower right. They've got right in the walls and on the floor. They've got this beautiful marble floor that they put element in. And also, in other key areas is shower benches. You can put it on tub decks. When you're sitting on the tub deck, you don't want to have a cold behind. You can have a nice warm place there when you slide into the tub. Just a really beautiful installation there. Another unique application to STEP Warmfloor. Again, what you're going to find in all these slides is I hope you've seen the diversity that the element can be in environments that it can be in. This happens to be a project in Reno, Nevada for Atlantis Casino. And you can see here the element is actually, that's a place where a person would sit there. So they formed the element around this seating, and so it's in the bench. And then, so they put basically they mortar over the top of that and covered that up and got it ready for the tile. And I'll show you that in the next slide. But you also see it in the floor. So this is just a spectacular project. Just wait till you see these pictures. Look at that. Just a gorgeous outcome. And more than just the aesthetic, just the beautiful warmth that is created in this environment. So when a person goes to sit here and enjoy this beautiful place in Nevada, it's a warm environment further behind, and as they kind of just relax there. So really, we're providing comfort. You know, with STEP Warmfloor and Radiant products, it's a comfort thing. So when you talk to people, when people have it, you know, they really want it again. You know, so if they move from home to home and the home that they buy doesn't have it, well, get ready for a phone call, because they certainly will be calling you, and get ready to sell them some STEP Warmfloor there. Another application is the luxury vinyl tile, or LVT, a really fast-growing product. You're seeing a lot more of this, and actually it's a beautiful product. Our actual display that we take to shows when we do these trade shows has this on our display in a section of it. And why we did it, we did a couple reasons. It's beautiful. It's also lighter, so you know, I'm one of the people that actually set up the display along with others. We're going to keep this light, and it's very thin. Again, low profile. Comes in beautiful designs. It also has texture, so when you look at it, it actually looks like a slate floor, or a limestone floor. And then some of these other pictures here. It's very low maintenance, pretty inexpensive when you look at the what we call the life cycle cost. So, you know, carpet's got a lower life cycle because it wears out quicker, but you know, you got your longer life cycle with luxury vinyl tiles and tile and your marble floors. So just really you're going to hear more about these floors coming up. Hopefully as you guys are out there talking to people, you're going to hear LVT. What is that? Well, you know, now you know what it is. It's luxury vinyl tile. Spacing for here, typically 2 to 4 inches. We want to, again, no adhesives, no glues on the elements. We want to make sure that we have some barrier in between that. And what we can do there is you can propose or have your flooring contractor, you can tell them to use either Russian birch or Luan or some sort of wood underlayment to go over the top or sandwich that in to your plywood subfloor. And what they'll do, and I'll go to the next slide here. So what the contractor will do is lay that down and go ahead and staple it. And you see all these little gray marks around this floor. Well, those are, in this case, I would suppose those are screws. You also use sheeting stapler or something like that to staple this down. Again, avoiding bust braids. And then what they'll do is they'll put this patching compound down in between the seams and over all these holes, because if you know vinyl or VCT or luxury vinyl tile, you want to have a very smooth floor, because that smooth floor translates into a smooth installation, nice and flat, so when sun reflects on that floor, you don't see dimples or you don't see creases or anything like that. It looks nice in the end. So, and ways to cover, like I mentioned, certainly wood underlayments are a wonderful one to use there, and also self-levelers would be a good application there, because now, just like the wood underlayment, that self-leveler is that buffer between the glue that you most likely need with sheet goods and the element. So another one that you can use is a skim coat, or some sort of cementatious products would go over the top, very similar to like a thin set. They just are real fine powder, a lot like what they'd use here to patch these holes and also in the seams. There's a finished product on that bathroom. Nice looking bathroom there. It certainly can be heated, and why not heat it? Let's always be a proponent of warm floors, right? Another really neat application that I wanted to include into this. I know it's not tile, I know it's not vinyl, but it's something I definitely think fits into this presentation or this webinar piece better than any other where it could go, is countertops. Yes, I did say countertops. You can certainly heat them. There's all sorts of countertops out there, folks. You've got your concrete countertops, you've got silestone, Cambria, Caesar stone, natural stones, all your different granites and marbles and onyx and all these different beautiful, beautiful products that that can be heated. So why not start to kind of talk to your builders and remodelers and contractors about this application that often I believe is overlooked. And it wasn't until a few years back when someone said, you know what, we really want to heat our marble. Actually, it was a granite center island. So why not? Certainly can be done. Hadn't really talked about it before then, but came up with an application for it. And really what you do is the granite fabricator, once he's done fabricating the piece, would allow time for other company to come in, whoever's going to put in the STEP Warmfloor, and fasten that with thin set on the underside of that slab where you want it to be heated, and then go ahead and use some sort of insulation over the top of that. Well, you're asking why insulate? Well, we don't want to drive that energy down into the pots and pans and where your cookie sheets are. We want that to go up into the slab where your arms and where you're going to be sitting. So that's where you would put the insulation, and we know that warm goes to cold. So naturally it's going to go up and kind of get sucked up into that slab. And kind of a funny, you see bullet number 3 here. Yes, it actually did happen. I do say just beware of chocolate Easter eggs because they will melt. We actually got a very nice testimonial back from the customer after we followed up with them, and they were so kind to write a testimonial that I still have hanging in my cube because it's fun to read every now and then, and it's kind of nice that we're going to be celebrating Easter this weekend, and her Easter eggs actually melted. So again, maybe it's just something to let them know that anything that might melt, it will on this, and hey, it's doing its job. It's warming up that nice slab. So kind of fun there. Just some helpful websites that I really found to be very helpful. National Tile Contractor Association. You've got your Tile Council of North America, and then another one I found was an installation site that I really felt helpful. Hopefully you do as well. NAMIA, and go ahead and look at that and kind of look at our values of different bad installations and things like that. There's all sorts of resources out there. Really some key takeaways that I want you to go home with, and well, you're probably at home right now actually. But 1 to 2 inch spacing. Make sure we eliminate striping. Really, we're going to do that on the design end. We're going to talk to you about that. Really, we want to pound that point home and do that. And also, nail and staple right through it. Go for it. Knock yourself out. It's not going to hurt the element whatsoever. And we just want to make sure that we avoid those bust braids whenever possible. And a little staple out of a hammer tacker 550, is not going to, sever the bust braid. I mean, it's a woven bust braid. Go ahead and just leave it in. It's not a problem. So, and then always insulate when possible. Always, we're always going to talk about that when you call us. We're a big proponent of insulation whenever possible because it really is going to make that STEP Warmfloor really efficient as possible. And then just the wide variety of applications. We just talked about tile and marble and underneath Durock and Hardybackers and over the top and poured floors and countertops and vinyl. So just this, what I really want to pound home is just the very unique pieces that it can go in. And then again, no metal lath. Make sure that you don't use metal lath when you're pouring floors or a mud bed. Use plastic lath. Just the webinars, we just want to touch on this again. Dennis, here's a list of webinars. Mine will be on the website here soon. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. And then Tracy's going to take it home with staple up and between the joists. That'll be next Thursday, and she's looking forward to that, and we hope that you join us there and take part of that. Thank you so much. You know, it's been a pleasure. You're not here in front of me in the room here, but I know you're out there, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy evenings to listen to this webinar regarding tile. Here's our team. We'd love to hear from you, and here's 2 contacts that you can certainly reach out to. You can certainly reach out to me as well. We've got Andy Hoffman, one of our sales representatives. There's his contact information, and again, you remember he presented last week. We've got Tracy. And let's jump into some questions and kind of answer some of those. I really appreciate you taking the time out to type these in. And this is a question from Bobby. I know it can make the floor warm enough. How can we make it more comfortable at the body level? Well, radiant naturally is going to radiate up. It's going to heat up objects really well. So what we can do at the body level, if we can look at you know, your question kind of goes towards floor warming or primary heat. Now, we certainly can put more elements on the floor to kind of get more warmth in the area. And I really hope that answers your question. Great question, Bobby. Really, Radiant does a great job. You know, like forced air tends to collect up towards the areas where you don't need it. You know, above your head. Who needs heat above their head? You know. Radiant heat really should be at your feet because your extremities are cool. You know, they're cool. You know, and now they come in contact with a warm floor. Well, geez, now your whole body just feels warmer. So hopefully I haven't belabored that point. But again, thank you, Bobby, for that. So, question here from Jim is why is metal lath not recommended? Well, again, like I mentioned, that we want to make sure that we don't have metal bridging the gap from bus braid to bus braid. That would actually not be a good thing at all. It would actually short that out. So hopefully that answers that. Thank you, Jim, for that question. Now we got a question from Scott Montgomery. The elements are thin, but how thick are they, the crimp connectors? Well, the crimp connectors, if you're to put 2, I haven't measured. I'm sorry, I haven't measured the exact. But if the 2 pieces of element, the STEP Warmfloor element, about double thick. The crimp is about double the thickness of the actual element. So I would say closer to 1/8. Well, no, quarter inch, maybe just short of quarter inch, kind of like that. So we want to make sure that those, when they get depressed, it can get sink down into that floor, and that's why. If whenever possible, to paddle drill through and drop those through the floor is best. Or in the case, like I mentioned, with Durock going over the top, that we can actually create that trough and kind of racetrack those and kind of put those down and thin set over the top of that. So I really hope, Scott, I answered your question there. So thank you very much for that. Great questions. Another question here is, are there certain thin sets that are approved or not? You know, which ones are approved? Well, you know, we want to leave that we want to leave that up to the flooring manufacturer. You know, we want to make sure that we're using thin sets that are powder mixed with water, not pre-mixed, not mastics. We want to use thin sets. You know, there's all sorts of them out there. Superflex, Mapei makes one, Tech. Look in that in TCA handbook and those thin sets that are approved there, and also just go ahead and reach out to your flooring guy. And another question here is, what happens if I staple or nail through the bus braid? Well, it's, you know, you staple it. You know, you got a little staple like a hammer tacker, or that you put down, or a squeeze stapler. That's probably recommended as a squeeze stapler, so you have better control over that. But if you happen to to maybe catch an edge of one, just go ahead and leave it in. I mean, really, the bus braid's not going to sever because of a little staple or nail. It'd have to be pretty exact. I don't even know if it could be possible with a roofing nail. But again, stay away, mark them out, do your due diligence to just go ahead and mark those out. And last question here, unless there's others ones that come in. Question here from Steve is, are there certain types of tile or stone that perform better than to warm up? So the answer to that is really tile to the touch is cool. So the ones that might be more dense would be a better conductor of that heat and come up through and transfer through a little bit better. So hopefully that answers Steve's question there. Other than that, again, really appreciate you taking time out of your evening to listen. Please reach out to Andy, Tracy, myself. We would love to earn your business and get a chance to design floors for you and really get a chance to get to know you on a personal level. And we're hoping you bring us lots of plans to design and really look forward to it. And all of you, enjoy this Easter weekend. Enjoy the weather that you're having. Enjoy family and friends. And we thank you so much, and we look forward to having you join us next week with Tracy on Staple Up Applications. Thank you very much. Take care.